everybody. Hope you're well out there and you're pursuing your happiness and the greatness that you deserve in your life. It's the host of the Left, Right, Left podcast, Mark R. Chabot, USMC retired. Before I get started with my guest this evening, I just wanted to direct you to my channel. If you have not caught the 100-day update that I just posted, I would ask you to please go ahead and do that. It has some important announcements on there, and that way you can get caught up to speed where we're at. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and proceed on with my guest. He is a fresh face. He is my sixth guest. He's a 22-year Marine retiree, and he's currently an entrepreneur, and we're going to let him fill in all the rest of the blanks. Nelson Coburn, welcome to the Left, Right, Left podcast, brother.
What's good, Mark?
Hey, life is great, man. How are you?
I'm doing beautiful out here.
Good. Nelson is residing in sunny California at this time. Nelson, let's just go ahead and get right into it. You ready to go?
Let's go.
All right, man. Born ready, baby. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your upbringing.
Okay. First, I just want to say thanks, Mark, for having me on. I appreciate it. Humbled by opportunity to share some of my life with everyone and all your viewers. And I wish you nothing but success in what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm originally from Honolulu, Hawaii. I spent most of my younger youth there. Enjoyed the beaches and food and culture. And then I left there, went to Brooklyn, New York for a short stint. And that was eye-opening. I got there with snow. I hadn't seen snow before, so that was great.
Yeah.
And then I left there and went to Grants Pass, Oregon, a little small town in southern Oregon, and finished off school there before I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Joining the Marine Corps, we all have different reasons for doing it. What was the thing for you that said, hey, I want to be a part of this organization?
I didn't really have a father growing up, and I will say that my mom did her best to discipline me and keep me on the straight and narrow. But I would say growing up in Hawaii, I was always around a bunch of different branches of the service, and the Marines always stood out, whether they were in uniform, whether they're in civilian attire, their mannerisms, the way they carry themselves. And I just felt that somewhere at a young age is something that I want to accomplish.
That's awesome, brother. 22 years. I mean, that's a long time to spend, in the Marine Corps. You retired out as a first sergeant. I know for the audience who may be a little unfamiliar with that, that is the second highest pay grade that you can achieve in the enlisted ranks. It is also a little known fact that a lot of people don't know. It's actually the second hardest rank to get promoted to in the Marine Corps, right after Brigadier General. And you did it, Nelson. Of all that time that you did, infantryman, 5 combat tours, Marine Corps legendary drill instructor. What is the thing that you enjoyed the most?
Leading Marines, to be quite frank, just leading Marines, that challenge day in and day out, it made me a better person. It made me strive to want to be better for them. So selfishly, that's what, drove me continuously all the way to the end. Until I took off that uniform, was that if I could do something throughout my day to help make that Marine better and make his life more successful, whether he stayed in for another 20 years or not, having that impact on them really motivated me.
Yeah, I think pouring yourself into another Marine and then watching that Marine ascend and watching that Marine shine. And then guess what? Then they pay it back to 5 to 10 other Marines. And then those Marines pay it back to the next 5 or 10 behind them. That's the thing of beauty, man.
It's unless you've ever done it, if you've never had that feeling, it's hard to explain really. But that passion, seeing your Marines thrive from that little time that you had with them. And though they're obviously doing all the work, you just help guide them and rudder that steer for them when you had that time together. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no doubt. I just wanted to ask you a little bit, you were an infantryman. Can you talk a little about your experiences as an infantryman?
Yeah, my first 4 years, I started in good old Kalamazoo, North Carolina.
Hoorah.
On 8th Marines as an 0341 mortarman. What is that? And they're like, those little green figurines that you play with, the plastic ones? I'm like, yeah. The ones that you play with, that you can set off to the side? I'm like, yeah, that's what they're doing.
Nice. Were you 60s or 81s?
I was 81s. Big gun.
Nice. Good. Yeah, that's a good round.
I didn't want to do that job. I wanted to be an 11 in my mind. And then when I checked into the unit and started going, doing some training and really learning what mortars did, it grew on me, and I actually loved it. I really, really enjoyed being a mortarman. All the bad times were still amazing. And I really grew. I think those first 4 years, those real impressionable years of my career in Lejeune, made me set the foundation for who I was to become throughout my career.
I got to ask you because one of the things that we do here on our podcast is, we try to, show people lessons, and teach them things and kind of how you can rebound, right, from making mistakes. So as a gunnery sergeant, when I ran into you in Afghanistan, you had told me about a mistake that you had made. Can you talk a little bit about the mistake and what you had to do to recover from it to ultimately get promoted to first sergeant?
Yeah. To be honest, I got more than one mistake in my career. And
yeah, me too.
I wouldn't say I'm proud of it by any means. I had checked in and got a DUI when I first checked in from the depot to 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines. It was my first weekend, and hadn't been home since I was a kid, and I was just having too much of a good time. And to get past all the details of it all, I got NJP'd for it. And then I was facing a dilemma that I was going to get forced out. And I got passed over twice. And I had a real talk to myself. And I said, if I'm going to get forced out, I can live with the fact that I made a mistake. I owned up to it. I got held accountable, as I should. But if I'm going to get forced out, I want to be somewhat on my terms, even though it would be the Marine Corps terms. I want to be able to still say that I did everything I could to fight to stay in, and that I could still hold my head up high and look for whatever that path that God wants me on now. And through that hard work, I was able to stay in. I was fortunate enough that CO gave me a setting aside letter, which allowed me to resubmit for my rank of gunner sergeant that I was being passed over for. And I won, and I was able to continue marching forward.
Yeah. Man, like sometimes things work out for the best. And the reason why, you were likely retained and your CO did that was just because, everything that you said, you learn from it. There's some people when they make mistakes and you can tell that they don't really have a lot of remorse from it and they're just kind of gaming the game, but you're a pretty genuine person. It's all about confidence, and you instilled that confidence in those leaders.
I would say to viewers that make, that they're in the service and you make a mistake, or in life in general, we're human beings. We're going to make mistakes, right? Take the lesson learned, the learning lesson that God wanted you to learn. You reflect on your character and the direction of your life that you want, the path that you want. And I really wanted to be a Marine. I wasn't prepared to get out. My goal was to see it through as long as I could. And as much as breaking my heart that I was going to be forced out for one night of something that I made a mistake on, I was pretty devastated that, I wouldn't be able to be a Marine anymore. But, giving up just never been in my nature. And I just kept fighting, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I am too. It was the right call. So I'm not proud of being part of the DUI club neither. Being in handcuffs, and it's an embarrassing thing to have happen to you. For all the viewers out there, do your best to keep your nose clean, because Nelson and I have been through an experience you damn sure don't want to have. I assure you of it.
No, and you know what? Like, in any negative thing that happens to you, I from that point on, moving forward, I really tried to do what I could to mitigate other Marines having to be in my similar. So
yeah, absolutely.
I made, all the things I went through, all the trials and tribulations I went through in the Marine Corps, I really tried my best to ensure that I kept other Marines following that path that I ended up in, so that they wouldn't have to go through the things that I went through. And then when they did, I would still do everything I could to empower them to continue to fight on and move forward.
Yeah, no doubt. I didn't get the audience caught up, but Nelson and I were drill instructors together in 2006. Same company, Charlie Company, Charlites franchise, all that. Big Red One. And then when I was talking about how I met Nelson and he told me what had happened, that was in Afghanistan. And I was a first sergeant out there and he was still a staff sergeant. He came right up to me and shook my hand and we hugged and he told me what had happened. And I just remember giving him a hug back saying, that sucks. It's going to be hard, but you're going to overcome this because you're a great Marine. So that's the other thing out there, to the viewers. When people make mistakes and they screw stuff up, don't be that one to isolate them. Keep them in the fight.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Mark. I see it too many times. So when a Marine messes up, right, the whole NJP process and all of that, it's meant to get them back, that Marine back into the fight, right?
Yeah, right.
Hold them accountable and let them grow and move on. And he's going to have to obviously work hard already on his own amongst his peers to move forward anyway. So, I mean, if he wants to stay in, he's going to do more than his peers. And if not, then he's going to get forced out. The system's going to work itself out. Right.
We're a recruit training regiment together, and we both retired right about the same time. And we kind of went through the transition process together, and it was pretty good to have a battle buddy, to talk things through. Hey, so now here you are, I know what you were doing, but I'd like you to tell the audience a little bit about how you set yourself up for success so you could seamlessly walk out of the Marine Corps after 22 years and have things in motion.
So too many times I've seen a lot of Marines transition out, especially ones that stayed in for a while. And they were so focused on their day-to-day with the Marine Corps that they really forgot who they were and what they were passionate about, what they loved, because it became the Marine Corps. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think, in order to be a great leader, it does consume most of your life. And it does. The Marine Corps becomes you. But once I realized I was going to retire, I started thinking, what is it that I want to do beyond the Marine Corps? What am I passionate about? And for this next chapter, I wanted it to be about me and my family. I thought maybe real estate would be a good vessel to really get into those different things that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I started to take advantage of it when I had weekends off. And it was a perfect timing in the market. The market was pretty hot. And I learned a lot really fast. And I realized that this was something that I definitely was passionate about. I enjoyed and I was decent at. And I still got to take care of families and service members. Most of the people that I've served and in real estate were service members or active duty Marines and their families. So I still got to keep that same passion I had when I was a first sergeant before I got out, and still carry that forward now that I'm retired.
It's kind of the hot trend going right now for people that are either retiring or getting out is to become real estate agents, right? For me, I didn't really have that bug, but what is it about real estate that just so many retirees and service members are gravitating towards?
I think why Marines, specifically Marines I can talk on, do well transitioning out doing real estate is that I look at real estate kind of like combat in a sense. You have the offense and you have the defense, right? Or you have the enemy and the friendlies. And I relate that to real estate in the sense we have buyers and sellers. Buyers are on the offensive, trying to find a property. And the sellers are more on the defense, trying to weed out, the people that aren't going to be the best buyers for their property. And then where the realtor comes in is to help, either side navigate through that. And the attention to detail, negotiating, hard work. Real estate, people always see the nice and fun things, but they really don't see the hustle and the late nights and all the calls. Stressful calls of the families, their concerns, and you really have to have the patience, the understanding, the temperament to deal with. I wouldn't say hostile, but I haven't had too many of those.
Could be, right? Could be.
It can escalate pretty quick, especially when you're talking to other realtors that may not have been through some things that we have in our lives. This is like the biggest thing and life threatening for them. And just having the patience and the understanding to navigate through that. And I think senior leaders in the Marine Corps are used to dealing with senior officers. I explained to all my team members that, I treat all my clients as if they're the commander and I'm their senior enlisted advisor. And my job is not to tell the buyers or seller what to do. My job is to, with my expertise, is to provide them information so they can make the best sound decision for their families. And I think a lot of realtors or service owners that get out and transition to real estate, it's pretty seamless transition, and you're not wearing a uniform. You're your own boss, but beyond that, I mean, it's not that much different in the sense of the way you're interacting and you're being proactive. When we were in the Marine Corps, we were there. I wouldn't say we're managers, but our job was to assess, what could be coming, mitigate those issues, and if not, provide some options for the commanders. So real estate is not that much different.
Yeah. So Nelson, you're a real estate agent when you get out, flying solo, out there grinding, hustling, working for yourself, doing a great job. But, I know Nelson Coburn, and the audience doesn't, but I do. And you just have an attitude of you like to grow and you like to expand. So can you talk a little bit about how you have grown now into your own real estate branch under a company and also your entrepreneurship that you got going on?
Yeah, so it's easier when you're new. When I was a new realtor, to be part of a team, and I wouldn't say I was too good. I just didn't feel like I wanted someone else leading me. I've been dealing with that for so many years. I kind of wanted to do my own thing, and so I started building my own team. And then today we're about 10 agents, including myself. What I found is that, kind of like the law of attraction, when you're doing things well or doing things right, people are going to start seeking you out. And most of the team members, are either active duty Marines, retired Marines, or Marines who got out, and spouses of Marines that are on my team. And I think we have that common thread. So the expectation is already like, I don't have to say what the expectation is. I don't have to explain it. And if I do, the Marines pick up pretty quickly on what I'm putting down. But it's just a great synergy and great energy, and we're all supporting veterans and active duty service members. I felt like the later years in the Marine Corps, I was just in a box. I was told my left and right lateral limits were, this is your company, this is what your scope of work is, essentially what you can and can't do. And I felt that I wasn't sometimes being utilized to my full potential. And I'm not talking about just Marine Corps related things, just there's more creative things that I wanted to do. And it's just the Marine Corps wasn't the setting that I could do that, which is understandable. But when I got out, I just felt so free. And there were so many things I wanted to do that I just wanted to try to see if I could do it all as much as I can, as many ideas, and just grow different things. And whether I failed or succeeded, that really wasn't the point. But for me, it was more about the journey of expression and trying to do something different than I have been doing for 20 years and just see where it could go.